Hi everyone. How's your Saturday so far? I have been writing a lot of lessons and tasks for Eduling, and I'm happy to share that we have a new course called IELTS Writing Task 2 Advanced. So the IELTS exam, as you know, is very popular in many countries. Students prepare for this exam so that they can get admission to college and to study abroad. And speaking and writing are actually the most difficult skills for many students. So with the Eduling app, we have been focusing on developing speaking courses and writing courses. Okay, so now you're seeing my phone screen with the Eduling app already open. And this is the home screen. I'm gonna click on courses. And this is set to Vietnamese, but you can set to different languages as the first language. And I'm gonna search for IELTS. And this is the IELTS Writing Task 2 Advanced. And this course covers 5 types of essays, advantages and disadvantages, opinion essays, discussion essays, problem solution essays, and direct question essays. So those are the most common types of essays in the IELTS exam. Usually students see a question or a prompt and then they have 40 minutes to write their essay, and they should write at least 250 words. And you can see that these essay types are very common, and they are common in schools or as well as in college. So when you get to the course here, you can see that the first task here actually is just a handout to show students the different examples, prompts, or questions, and they can download it to their phone. And then here, this is an AI task that you can try right away. The way that we teach these types of essays is to introduce students to different topics to build their knowledge. And the first topic that we cover here is common topics about technology. So technology is a very common topic because usually there are changes in technology, and students are often asked about the different topics about technology. So if you click on this lesson, you're going to see
focuses on technology-related topics that frequently appear in IELTS Writing Task 2.
So I call this an audio lesson, but you can think of it as a podcast lesson in some way. Students listen to the lesson, can read the text, they can click on a word to see a translation in case they have difficulty with some words, and then they can finish listening to the lesson and click next. And then now they are tested or they are quizzed on some knowledge that has been covered in the lesson. So in this case, the first question is, what does the IELTS writing test mainly test when the topic is technology? So it is about ability to develop ideas and support opinions. Here, I'm just going through this. In the lesson, what does the word superficial mean? So these lessons often cover knowledge of a topic, but it also teaches some vocabulary. So in the lesson, there's an explanation of the word superficial. Superficial means shallow, not deep, right? And then students can go through all of these questions to recall their knowledge of the lesson. And I'm just going through this quickly. If they are wrong, they will get the sound and the feedback. Now, this is something that I also like. After the student has finished all of the questions, they can also click on the words to review. If they know all of the words, they don't have to review them. But if they are curious about some words that maybe are new to them, they can click on it and they can hear the pronunciation and they can see the translation. So you can see that usually we teach language after the students are already engaged with the content, not pre-teaching vocabulary. So that's one task that I want to show you. The other one We also have quizzes. So after a few lessons, perhaps students have learned some topics, they have learned some vocabulary, and now we can have a quiz like this for them again to recall what they have learned. Okay, because the first essay that the course covers is the advantages and the disadvantages essay. So I have a model essay about the pros
Study the
and
following essay for IELTS writing.
the pros and cons of social media. This is still a very hot topic. If you follow some of the news from the US, you can see that Zuckerberg is now in court to defend the decisions in not doing enough or for not doing enough to protect young people from using social media, even when they know that it's not useful or beneficial for them. So it's still a very hot topic. And so I have a model essay here discussing the advantages and disadvantages of social media. Students can look at the notes or look at the outline of the essay. They can stop and study the outline first, and then they can listen to the model essay. And you can see this is a 4-paragraph essay. After they have
Task 2.
finished,
To answer the question below,
they can click
study the
next,
following essay for IELTS writing.
and they can listen to it again, or they can just read it, and then they're gonna answer some questions. But for these types of questions, we want the students to focus on analyzing the language of the model essay. So you can see that the questions mostly ask about the function of the first sentence, right? They need to analyze the introduction and understand what the first sentence does. And the next question asks them about the function of the second sentence. So this is more like text analysis, and that is usually the way I teach writing. I provide interesting model essays that are relevant, and then we understand the content first, and then we analyze the language. So that is another type of activity or task that I have on the app. Now, there are the explicit lessons that teach them how to write. The topics are explicit about how to write an advantages and disadvantages essay, and you can see it here. Now, something that I really like is to use AI creatively so that students can either brainstorm ideas with AI or practice language with AI dialogically. I called it dialogically, in the sense that they can engage in a conversation with AI. In this case, when they do it on the app, they use their language to do it. So it's not about them asking AI to write something for them. It's about being asked by the AI to do something. So this is my approach all along in terms of allowing students to work with AI. I want to create tasks that they can perform with AI so that they can do one at a time, and ultimately they can do a more complex task independently. So this one, I think I have already shown it in my previous video, but I'll just show it to you quickly. And then the AI is gonna show me.
Great. Let's dive in. Here's the first question. Spend time studying the table with notes for an essay about the advantages and disadvantages of knowledge available on the internet. Follow the notes and expand the ideas there. Or use your own ideas. Can you talk or write the introduction of the essay based on the notes?
Okay, so you can see that in this task, I provide students with some notes about the pros and cons of the internet. Again, a common topic, still controversial, common topic. And with the notes here, the task is for the students to study the notes, right? Usually they should spend time studying the notes. And then they have to talk or share ideas based on the notes. So this is more supported or scaffolded or structured in some way. I asked my husband, who's an engineer who doesn't have to write essays like this, to do this, and it is challenging to him too. So that's what we want to do. We want to present tasks that are a little challenging to students so that they can stretch their language. Okay, so after they study the notes, they can type because this is a writing course. They can type, and the first question here is that they have to write out the introduction or they have to introduce the topic. Just type a sentence here, and saying that the internet now offers a vast and immediate repository of knowledge with easy access and usually no cost to users all over the world. Okay, so it's a good sentence, right? And then in the introduction, actually, students should also mention the focus of the essay. So I'm gonna just type it out and maybe I'll make a mistake. This trend, I can say, presents, I'll miss the S there, both significant benefits and challenges. Okay, or maybe I'll miss the S there as well. Okay, I'll send it. And now the AI is gonna respond.
That's a solid start. You've clearly introduced the topic and set the stage for discussing both sides. Just a small suggestion. Consider using presence instead of present for subject-verb agreement. Now let's move on. Can you introduce the first advantage in a sentence?
Okay, so it corrects a mistake that I made, right? It doesn't correct everything, but it corrects a mistake there. And so you can see that the student can spend time doing this with the AI, but when they do this, they actually use their own language, they use their own knowledge with some support from the notes to complete the task. Another AI task that I really like is that the AI is going to ask you to construct sentences. It's going to just give you individual sentences and then you have to construct the sentences. So I'll just show this to you very quickly. This task is called sentence construction. It's very common.
I'm going to give you some phrases. You need to write one complete sentence at a time. Make sure to add necessary words and change the word forms. Don't change the word order. Here's your first prompt. Artificial intelligence become major development / recent year, especially after launch ChatGPT 2022. Go ahead and write a complete sentence based on this prompt.
Okay, so you can see this is what I call a sentence construction task. Students have to turn the words into complete sentences, and they really have to pay attention to grammar. So maybe I'll just say it here. Artificial intelligence becomes major developments in recent year, especially after the launch of ChatGPT in 2022. And you can see I made some mistakes, so I'll see if it's gonna correct me.
Let's refine your sentence to make it clearer and grammatically correct. Artificial intelligence has become a major development in recent years, especially after the launch of ChatGPT in 2022. Here's some feedback. 1. Verb tense. Use has become to indicate an ongoing development. 2. Plural and singular forms. Use development instead of developments to match the singular subject. 3.
Okay, so you get the idea. It actually gives me a lot of feedback, but right after I have finished the sentence. So the feedback is immediate and it is delivered in a multimodal format using voice, and you can look at the text as well. And then here, if you keep going with this course, you're going to see there are some lessons about vocabulary, and then students can also write the essay out one paragraph at a time. And then there's actually a model essay for them to compare their essay with. And then moving on to the next essay type, I actually have decided to give students a summary of a really, really famous popular book, at least in the US, called The Anxious Generation. And after they have read the summary, they have to talk with AI about it. Let's just say you have read or listened to something really exciting, and now you want to tell it to someone else, right? So that's a common task. Then you can tell it to AI about what you have learned. For the opinion essay, which I think is one of the most difficult essays in the IELTS exam, I have a lot of tasks here in terms of the steps of how to write it. Model essays, there are videos as well. There are quizzes. I cover topics in writing such as parallelism, counter-argument in an opinion essay. There's some common exercises like gap fill for them to practice counter-argument. And then there are more lessons to teach them the topic related to artificial intelligence because it's a common topic. It can be asked in the IELTS exam. And then moving on to the discussion essay. And you can see there are videos, YouTube videos as well. And students can actually watch the videos to gain knowledge about the topic. And
picture this. You log into social media and you see this picture of some friends at a party.
so I actually like this task a lot because we use authentic materials, and then there are pop-up questions for the students to test their knowledge or to engage, right, to pay attention. And then they have to write essays about the topic. And then here you can see a lot as well. I also cover the problem solution essay. When I teach students, I actually tell them that the problem solution essay is very common in college, right? In college, in master's program, in PhD programs, because basically our job is to find problems to existing solutions. So if you think of a teaching strategy, if you think of a new algorithm, if you think of a new product, it is about finding solution to a problem. So interestingly, actually, academically, it's a very common essay type. And you can see there are some videos that I found on YouTube that I really like to build students' knowledge. There's a video about money for job satisfaction. An interesting question. The videos about income inequality, which is quite technical, but really interesting. And with AI, you can also see that we take advantage of AI to perform tasks with students. Students may have to practice paraphrasing with AI, or they can write with AI. And at the end, there's also a quiz. So there are quizzes that you can also add. Anyway, okay, so I want to show you an overview of this new course that advanced students can take. Any students aiming at the 7.0 score in the IELTS exam or higher. Or if teachers want to explore this to see if they can assign some tasks for students to do as homework or after the lesson. Actually, now when I teach, I give students these activities to do on the app because they are really concise, they are short and sweet. After the interaction in the classroom, if I ask them to review something, I want them to do this rather than do lengthy videos or any other exercises. But anyway, if you are interested, like I mentioned, it is on the app, and I can drop a link in the comment section for you to check it out. And there are quite a few tasks that are free for you to try. Thank you for listening.